Welcome back to Morning Coffee Guest. I'm Carol Francis. In a digital world, the need for quality education is critical. Our children need the right skills and knowledge. Rote learning is a characteristic that cannot be embraced. The emphasis now is on critical thinking, creativity, and innovation. As a result, we need to modify our education curriculums using the technology which continues to change the demands of the job market. This means that our educational system must evolve with the changes taking place in the digital landscape. Shamar Sadler, CEO of SmartTerm, has been telling us about the benefits of digitizing the education system. And we went through a list of the pros, which look at the collaboration between teachers so we can get more input, better ways, more effective, impactful ways of teaching. Better choices being made, but it's not all pros. There are some cons. The first, and I think I have been a victim of this, and a number of the persons in here will tell you, is the strain on your eyes and the attention span when you use the electronic technology. Is that correct?
Yes, there is some of that. And, you know, it's anything new, really. Anything new that your body has to go through. Your body has to go through changes and adjust to that. So, yes, that is some of the side effects of the continuous use of technology. Some of the cons, especially in the education space as it relates to technology, comes from around the misuse of it, the training behind it. So, for example, one of the things that we are proposing is bringing management information system, that type of course, into the teachers' colleges so that they can be aware of how to use the technology to better aid in education and teaching in the classroom. So that's one of the things, like technology is important, but if you misuse it, you could get the wrong results.
So you're talking about, when you say misuse, so for example, we have editors in here and they sit in front of a computer monitor for hours. The best thing would be within an hour, so you get up, you walk around for about 15 minutes and then you go back. Is that what the kind of training that they're given?
Right, right. So there's times you want to be on the device, and there's times that you want to actually do practical things without the device. And the thing about it is knowing when to, or how much to engage with the technology and when to do more in-person relations. Because the teaching is an experience. And, you know, while the technology helps, it has different usages. So instead of always being on the device itself or watching a clip, or being on a PowerPoint, you have to decide when you actually go into a more practical mode where you're using tools in the classroom, etc., to aid with that. And because it's a balance, you know, you can get the best use of the technology without the strain on your body. But like I said before, it's more so around the training and the teaching of how to use the software to be effective. Right?
And I'm glad you say balance, because, you know, some persons would argue that with the technology, you don't need so many teachers, you're going to be replaced. However, the teaching experience is critical to the process, so you need the teachers in the classroom.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Yes, you do. You need it. They're very important, especially for the base of education. I think they set you up to be successful. Learning never stops, and I say that all the time. One of the things that we want to bring in is corporate training. A lot of times companies don't invest in their employees, you know, furthering their education. And I think that it comes from the base of the education, which is where the teachers are most important. It's how they set us up to think, it determines how successful we are. And it's very important to invest in the teachers so that the teachers can invest in the students. Right?
The other thing, the other con is how you misuse the internet. I have worked at a place where I lobbied, and I'm sure people were not happy, that there were certain sites that people could not go on to because you found that they spent their time doing all sorts of things except the work. But when you have a school environment and you have children who are like sponges learning and so, there must be some way to control the misuse of the internet.
Right. What I will say is it's about discipline. That's what it comes down to, discipline. And whether that's at work or at school, it's no different. So, for example, one of the things that we lack today is the proper learning lesson plans or structure of the curriculum, right? If the students and the parents were able to understand all the steps involved, then they could also help learn at their pace. So even if someone wants to take a break after every 15 minutes and go watch some videos or laugh or look for some jokes, that is fine. They understand it's a maturity and a discipline thing. So, for example, I'm a big advocate of work at your own speed, at your own time, as long as you make your deadlines and deliverables. Even in that environment, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all. And what it comes down to is that it's that early education of being disciplined and sticking to a structure, a plan, and hitting deadlines that will translate over into the workplace as well. But it starts with the teachers, and by having a system or online platform, they'll be able to properly lay out that structure that everybody can follow, and it starts teaching that discipline from a very early age.
Now, education is a work in progress, and the government has been doing that. They have introduced tablets in schools. They're making significant strides, and they've introduced a range of interventions to keep students in class. In your opinion, what is the next step in the digitization process? Right.
So I'm a big advocate for bringing more resources into the space. So tablets, laptops, etc. is very important because, of course, from a cost perspective, it will help offset some of the costs related to the digitization process. But it's very important to note that you can provide the resources, but if you don't put the software or the plan in place, then of course the resources won't be as useful as it can be.
What is it that SmartTerm brings to the table?
Right. So what we bring to the table is the resources that are needed to be in the classroom. So the books, the e-books, the actual online classroom. So for example, the same way you'll be in a classroom with the teacher at the helm, the students listening, is the same way our platform gives you that. The teacher is the one who completely manages the classroom. They post to the discussion boards. They put up the handouts and the resources that are needed. They facilitate that learning environment completely online, the same way they would in the classroom. So what happens is that once you have that tablet as a student, what you get is that when you go home and you log into SmartTerm, you're still inside that classroom. Right?
Now, I've heard of a number of apps and stuff. One of them is Capture 8, which allows the child to answer the questions in the format that they are most comfortable, whether or not it's text, drawings, whatever not. Very exciting, What kind of excitement does SmartTerm bring? Right,
so the SmartTerm brings in integrations with a lot of different players in the space, right? So whether it's VR, AR, augmented reality or virtual reality, or whether it's something like Capture 8, we can integrate with all these platforms. So if you're a school and you're interested in engaging with different tools, we can just bring that into our platform and have it readily available for the students. And we made it open this way because everybody learns different. All the schools have different learning styles. The teachers have different learning styles. So being robust and dynamic like we are, it gives the ability to have learning without boundaries, right?
And you say without boundaries because I know SmartTerm is trying to trek across the Caribbean and is in other Caribbean islands. If someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they get in touch with you?
Right. So smartterm.io, that's our website, smartterm.io. And we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're on Instagram at SmartTerm Limited. Right.
Okay, thank you so very much. Now, according to the World Economic Forum, by 2025, demand for technology and computational thinking skills will grow by about a fifth. These technologies will create 2.1 million new jobs by 2020, jobs that require knowledge in computing and skills in mathematics, architecture, and engineering. Education has to be a part of this cultural shift. There is a need to embrace the innovations taking place in the digital landscape to allow our children to master the changes taking place. Our guest, Shamir Sadler, CEO of SmartTerm, has been giving us some insight as to what is needed to digitize our education system. Join us again, same time, same place, for another interesting and informative discussion right here on Morning Coffee Guest. Thanks for watching.